We all are aware about the reason behind this pandemic situation. So obviously I don't need to explain about it because the information is already dumped in many sites. But let me ask you a small doubt. As of now, many parts of the world is affected with this pandemic. Virus is spread across many countries, which includes glaciers with bulk amount of ice. So when this virus reaches those glaciers, obviously it will get frozen and stay in that same ice for generations. In future years, due to climate change, if those ice melts, the virus will be back to life. So in that case, will that affect our future generation? Will it be still dangerous one or even worse? What do you think? To know the answer, watch this video till the end and don't forget to subscribe my channel. So like the scenario I mentioned, recently scientists found 15,000 years old 33 viruses frozen in the ice. Due to drastic climate changes, glaciers are melting and reaching the nearest water bodies. To study their melting rate and the effect of global warming, group of scientists are doing their research on the main glaciers of the world. So in the same way, the researchers analyzed ice cores taken in 2015 from the Gulia ice cap in western China. The cores are collected at high altitude such as the summit of Gulia, which is 22,000 feet above the sea level. The ice cores contain layers of ice that accumulate year after year, trapping whatever was in that atmosphere around them at the time each layer froze. Those layers create a timeline of sorts, which scientists have used to understand more about climate change, microbes, viruses, and gases throughout the history. For example, many experienced people can say the age of the tree by calculating the annual rings of the wood growth, right? Same way, scientists will be studying each layer of the ice to know more about it. So while they were studying ice core samples from Gulia ice cap in western China, they found these 33 viruses for the first time in it. After listening to this, you might think, are they novel and dangerous? How the hell they were able to recover 15,000 years old virus without any damage to them? Should we worried about it? So first of all, scientists developed a new technique to recover these microorganisms without causing any damage to them. It is so effective that we can even use it in the environments like Mars, Moon, etc. to recover microbe samples without causing any damage to that samples. So by using this new technique, they were able to extract microbe samples from the ice core. After finding these 33 virus samples, scientists cross-checked all the viruses with already available virus data. While doing that, they found out 4 of those viruses have already been identified by the scientific community. The database comparison showed that 4 of the viruses in the Gulia ice cap cores had previously been identified and were from the virus family that typically infect bacteria. Since viruses do not share a common universal gene, naming a new virus and attempting to figure out where it fits into the landscape of known viruses involves multiple steps. And to compare unidentified viruses with known viruses, scientists has to compare every possible gene sets, so it takes a lot of time. So after comparing all the available gene sets, they concluded that at least 28 of them are novel and no previous gene data is available for these 28 viruses in our available virus data. This was just in glaciers of West China. What about other glaciers? What if we start digging other glaciers? I believe we might find more sleeping microbes in that ice. If not now, obviously one day they will come out. So will they be dangerous to us? When you think about the idea of catching some kind of a bacteria or virus that's been trapped in ice for hundreds or even thousands of years is pretty terrifying, which is why I wanted to talk about another really interesting story of a very interesting person. A person that you can see right here. His name is Jonah Halton. Halton went to this really unfortunate town in Alaska known as Brevig Mission. This town is famous because it was essentially almost completely wiped out during the 1918 Spanish flu infection or pandemic caused by the H1N1 influenza A virus. His only goal was to try to discover if the Spanish flu caused by virus was still present in the dead bodies of that town. He done this study back in 1951 and he wanted to see if the virus was still active and deadly. Obviously, this is not something very safe, but he was very curious person, and because of his discoveries, later on the scientists were able to very accurately analyze the Spanish flu virus and discovering all of its genome, and that allowed us to create a vaccine for any kind of epidemic that might happen again. But the important part of his study back in 1951 is that he really tried to restore the dead virus to life, but it just didn't work. None of the viruses were viable anymore, and none of them actually were able to create any new infection in any of the cells that he tried to use. And thus, this was a pretty interesting discovery. So these ancient viruses might not even be dangerous to us anymore. So we can expect the same thing with these 28 novel ancient viruses found in the ice of China. To assure this, there was one more study which is available in the history, which is similar and somewhat dangerous study was done with variola virus, which caused the smallpox. Same like Spanish flu virus, none of these smallpox viruses that infected people hundreds of years ago were active either, and none of them could be reactivated after decades and hundreds of years in the ground. And what this implies is that for the most part, it seems that these ancient viruses are no longer able to infect anyone. Although I do have to kind of say this with bit of caution, because some scientists who studied those viruses or those bacteria in the history have potentially been affected by something similar symptoms. The interesting part is that they were infected by the actual samples that they were studying. So here is where we come to a very ironic truth and discovery about all of this. It seems that the people that are most at risk from these ancient viruses and bacteria are the curious people trying to study them. In other words, the scientists studying these viruses have to be the one taking the most precaution. Indeed, the scientists trying to study these ice cores have to take a lot more precaution, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't really do this, and I'm not saying it is dangerous, but if they continuously try to dig out these samples, they definitely need a better techniques and better precautionary measures so that we won't end up with another pandemic like this. Luckily, I have mentioned in the beginning of the video new technique found by the scientists to recover viruses. Not only recover them completely, it does it safely. So I hope we don't need to worry about the spread of these ancient viruses to the scientists. And we can't just stop studies on these ancient viruses or digging more for these kind of microbes thinking that it's safe to do. Because if not today, one day the ice will melt due to global warming and definitely sleeping microbes will come out. So we need to be prepared for those. That's it guys, I hope you liked this video. Please do share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. This is your Vignesh. See you guys with one more interesting medical update in the next video.